Hello everyone, welcome to In the Studio. So more often than not, I find myself getting much better results when I feel like something's missing in my mix, when I want to fill some space, when something's not quite right, instead of reaching for something else, adding something else in there, and running the risk of, putting too many elements in the mix and having it be cluttered and muddy. To take what I already have and enhance that is the better route, at least for me. I would say 95% of the time. I've talked about this before on the channel. I feel like it's super important. It's really helped me um, take my productions to the next level. That just mindset of less is more. Make what you have that's working well in your track, shine through and polish that and really get the most out of it. So the reason I'm talking about this again is I have I think, a good example of that in this particular project here. So this track is a new original track that I'm working on, and I'm just going to play you a little snip of some of the parts, not the whole thing, and most of the things are muted, but it's enough where we can talk about what's happening here, and I'll show you what I've done to enhance this particular element in the track. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on the rides here, which are playing with the kick on every beat. So originally I felt like, because I only have a couple high-end drum elements that I want to use in this track, and some of them are just playing little accent hits, so I wanted the ride to really shine through, and I felt like it just wasn't. Um, so I did a few things to enhance it, make it a little bit more interesting. So that was just normal. Obviously, it's down pretty low as far as volume goes. So on the ride itself, I just added a low cut, which is very standard. Cut out all the unnecessary mid and low frequencies, which the ride does have those frequencies in there. And then I ran it through this Moog filter, which is one of my favorite plugins, with a little bit of drive, and I actually gave it a LFO effect, which is subtle, but it's something that I can automate in and out of the track to give the element a little bit more interest and movement, and have it kind of bouncing a little bit. So you can hear that. And that's just on a synced 16th rate. And I find actually LFO, subtle wobbles, and tremolo effects sound nice on rides. So that's something that maybe you can try out in one of your tracks. But I felt like it still just needed something, and I didn't actually tried adding something else in here, and I felt like it kind of cluttered the mix and it was too much. So what I did was I sent this ride to 3 separate tracks. So this one's just a copy of the original, so I just called it Ride Dry. And then I have 2 other tracks here. So I have one that's panned left, which this one is a reverb at 100% wet. I used the Sparkling Hall preset from RealVerb Pro from UAD. I gave that a little touch of distortion and EQ'd that, rolled off some of the tops and the lows, and then I gave it a movement with the volume shaper from Cable Guys. So listen, you can hear on the left side that every 3 bars, the ride kind of it swells up on the very top frequencies, well, most of the ride. But it just gives it that little extra, like, subtle movement that makes things interesting. And because it's 3 bars, it's not your typical 1 or 2 or 4 bars. It kind of gives it a little extra rhythmic interest. So listen for that. It's super subtle, but I felt like it just kind of it worked. It did exactly what I needed it to do. And then on the right side, I just added a distortion with this driver from Native Instruments, and to kind of give something else on the right side of the spectrum. Yeah, and I felt like that did the job. I didn't need to add anything else. I love using parallel processing, um, and just those two extra tracks processed in different ways, panned out to the each side, with a little bit of movement on one, at an odd um, loop rate, um, with the 3 bars that kind of swells up. I just thought it did the job I needed it to do, and I thought I would share that with you. This is something, that you can use on rides, you can use it on whatever, but it's more about the concept of taking what you have and enhancing that, getting the most out of it, rather than just say, oh, I need to add something else in here, or, you know, and running the risk of clogging your mix. So that's it for today. Leave me a comment or question, and I'll catch you soon. Take care.